Hey, it's podcast time. Welcome to the Solid Signal podcast for the week of September 23rd, 2013. I'd like to talk about two different subjects this time. First of all, I'd like to talk about the golden age of television. And also, a little later in the podcast, we'll be talking about the CEDIA Expo that's going on this week and what to expect. I don't like these podcasts to go on too long, and I know you don't either, so let's get started. Over the past weekend, many of you, just like myself, watched the Primetime Emmys and watched a whole bunch of self-important individuals refer to this as the new golden age of television. Is that really true, or are they just patting themselves on the back? First of all, a couple of things about golden ages. You never really know that you're in a golden age until you're out of it. So anyone who says they're in a golden age, well, just isn't right. Think about it. Do you remember back about 7-8 years ago? I know I did. While today it looks like the economy was going gangbusters and everything was great, way back then we were all worried about losing our jobs anyway. It was the golden age, but we just didn't know it. Second of all, the real golden age of television wasn't really that golden. You could probably count on one hand the number of really outstanding television programs that came from the 1950s. Okay, maybe two hands if you're really generous. But there were some brilliant people. There were some people who really worked on that new medium and turned it into what it is today. But there were a lot of bad TV shows, and we just don't have records of those, or we tend to ignore them. Way back when, people used to say television is a medium because it's neither rare nor well done. Does that sound golden to you? The real question is whether or not TV is better today than it ever was. And I think at some level it probably is better than it ever was. I do agree with that statement. Why? Because there's so much more out there, and while there's a lot of junk, there's a lot of people just watching TV shows about other people who watch TV, there's also some really good stuff out there. There's stuff that is really being produced at what used to be the level reserved just for movies, and it's all out there for free. I'm going to stop short of calling it a golden age, though, because things can always get better from here, or things can get worse from here. One of the reasons that things are really good right now is that about 6 years ago there was a writer's strike, and a lot of people realized how good they had it when they didn't have a job, and other folks who just weren't that good just kind of left. That meant that there was a surge of real quality that started after the writer's strike ended, and it's still going on to this day. Now let's talk about CEDIA Expo 2013. CEDIA Expo is the smaller, more nimble version of the Consumer Electronics Show that's only designed for professionals to attend. While almost anyone can forge their way into the Consumer Electronics Show in January, CEDIA Expo requires quite a financial commitment to get in. It's the show where real business gets done. You find a lot of new product introductions, but they're not flashy Microsoft gigantic screen kind of introductions. They're more like new home automation technologies. It's where we first saw the 4K televisions on these shores. They'd previously only been shown in Berlin. Your Solid Signal blog team is going to be on the ground looking at everything that's new and interesting at CEDIA Expo. And it's really hard to know what we're going to see because there haven't been that many product previews out yet. You know, CEDIA Expo's in Denver this year, and there's obviously been something much more important going on in Denver that has more or less eclipsed the impact of this show. I do expect it to be relatively quiet as a result. 4K is hitting its stride, and we just saw the introduction of HDMI 2.0 and HD-based T 2.0, which means we'll probably see a lot of products, even if they're prototypes, based on that technology. Last year we saw new products from Antennas Direct, DirecTV, and Darby that would make a difference for your average home theater viewer. This year it's hard to know. DirecTV isn't exhibiting, Dish will probably be there, but will not have any new product. So we'll be on the lookout to see exactly who's got the new and interesting stuff. It's a sure bet though, TiVo is going to be there with all their new Romeo DVRs. So there you go. I shoved two topics into a 5-minute podcast, which frankly makes me feel pretty good, although it may seem like a minor achievement. I'm off to CEDIA Expo, and I'll see you next week with a whole bunch of new information. Until then, have a great one.